She loved her son a lot. He was her everything. So the memories I would have is just joyful moments that she had with her son.
On the computer, and I heard 2 gunshots, and I turned around, and he was standing there holding the gun.
Who was standing there holding the gun?
Adam was.
We, the jury, find as follows: to count 2 of the charge of murder in the first degree, Trayvon Alberry. The defendant is not guilty.
On January 27, 2023, Billy Bennett Adams III walked out of a Florida courthouse a free man, acquitted of double murder. The jury had just declared him not guilty of killing Trayvon Alberry and Daniel Thompson. 72 hours later, a pregnant woman lies dead in a pool of blood while her toddler sleeps in the car just 5 feet away. The woman is Alana Sims. She's 22 years old, 5 months pregnant, and she's been shot in the head in front of her child. Both times, Billy Adams claimed self-defense. Both times, no weapons were found on his victims. This is the story of how one man got away with murder until he couldn't stop killing. Billy Bennett Adams III was born in Virginia, raised in Georgia, and transformed in Tampa. He graduated from the University of South Florida with a bachelor's degree in science and management. His father, Billy Adams Sr., expected him to join the military. Instead, Billy chose rap music and the streets.
That's why I ain't never quit. Why they steady speaking on my camp when they know we legit?
By 2020, he was performing as Ace NH, a rapper who claimed affiliation with the Crips gang. His lyrics glorified guns and violence. His music videos showed him with weapons, throwing gang signs, talking about street life he'd never really lived until he moved to Florida. 4 bodies, 2 trials, 1 acquittal, 1 pending death penalty case. On January 29, 2023, the day before Alana Sims died, Billy Adams sent a text message to another woman. The message read, "Tomorrow this shot done." Tonight, you'll discover how a college-educated young man with every opportunity became Tampa's most controversial accused killer. How someone could walk free from a double murder charge only to kill again within 3 days. And how text messages, surveillance cameras, and a grieving mother's determination for justice would finally expose the truth about Billy Bennett Adams III. Welcome to True Crime Anatomy. A huge thank you to all my amazing subscribers. Your support means everything, and I wish safety and peace for you and your families wherever you are. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, like, and share. We uncover the parts of the story the media often leaves out.
You say that you won't smoke, my niggas post up on your block and start. I plays like a quarterback, knock you off, I can order that. Give them smoke, this that Florida gas, that get up, can't ignore the rest. I make money every day, but I'm still hacking like I'm broke. I know niggas who say they real, but they still act like a hoe. Bitch, you know it's me, ain't nothing changed, I'm still keeping the pole. Suffocating all the ops, we give them smoke and make them choke. Yeah,
Billy Bennett Adams III entered this world in Virginia. His early years passed in Georgia, where his father, Billy Adams Sr., worked hard to provide stability for his family. The Adams household valued education and discipline. Billy Sr. had a clear vision for his son's future, military service, just like many young men from their community who found purpose and direction in uniform. In 2017, Billy made a decision that would change everything. He packed his belongings and drove to Tampa Bay, Florida. He enrolled at the University of South Florida, where he studied science and management. To his professors and classmates, he was just another student working toward his degree. He attended lectures, submitted assignments, participated in group projects, but something shifted in 2017 when Billy stepped onto a stage for the first time. The microphone felt right in his hands. The crowd's energy fed something inside him. That night, performing his own rap lyrics, Billy Bennett Adams III discovered what he wanted. Not the military career his father planned, not the corporate job his degree would provide. He wanted fame, he wanted respect, he wanted to be Ace NH. By day, he continued his studies at USF. He earned his bachelor's degree, made his family proud. But after dark, Billy was building something else. He was creating Ace NH, a persona that would eventually consume Billy Adams entirely. Ace NH needed credibility in Tampa's rap scene. Real credibility, the kind you can't earn with a college degree. Billy started claiming affiliation with the Crips gang. Whether this connection was real or manufactured, it became central to his identity as a rapper. Listen to his lyrics. In track after track, Ace NH raps about guns, about violence, about street life, about gang culture. The themes repeat across 3 albums and multiple singles released between 2017 and 2020. References to shooting rivals, moving drugs, representing his set. These weren't metaphors, these weren't artistic expressions. These were promises. Tampa's rap scene in 2020 was competitive. Authenticity mattered. Other rappers had grown up in the streets Billy was trying to claim. They'd lived the life he was rapping about. For Billy Adams, the USF graduate from a stable family, being seen as real required proof. The desperation shows in his social media posts from this period. Photos with weapons, videos throwing gang signs, constant references to street life. Billy wasn't just playing a character anymore. He was becoming Ace NH. When does keeping it real go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. November 19th, 2020 was a Thursday. Billy had a recording session scheduled that night at a makeshift studio in Lutz, Florida. He was working on new music. Trevon Albury and Daniel Thompson would be there to help him. Joseph Meeks, who owned the studio, would handle the technical side. What happened in that studio would leave 2 men dead and set in motion events that would destroy multiple families. The transformation from Billy Adams to Ace NH was about to become complete. The studio sat at the back of a family home on North 23rd Street in Lutz, Florida. It wasn't a professional facility. Joseph Meeks had converted the space into a makeshift recording booth where local artists could lay down tracks. Lutz is about 15 miles north of Tampa, a quiet area where gunshots would definitely be noticed. That Thursday night, 4 men gathered in the studio. Joseph Meeks, the owner and engineer, Trevon Albury, Daniel Thompson, and Billy Adams, who arrived as Ace NH, ready to record. The session started like any other. Meeks sat at his computer, adjusting levels, managing the soundboard. Albury and Thompson were there to assist Billy with his new track. Whether as featured artists, creative input, or moral support, the exact roles remain unclear. What is clear is that Billy successfully recorded 1 complete song that night. Then the atmosphere changed. According to witness statements, tension filled the small studio space. Conversations became shorter. The easy collaboration of earlier in the evening disappeared. Meeks, focused on his computer screen, continued mixing the track Billy had just finished. His back was to the room. He was wearing headphones, absorbed in the technical work of perfecting the sound. Billy Adams would later claim he overheard something. A conversation between Albury and Thompson. Words that made him reach for the gun nobody knew he was carrying. Joseph Meeks described it to police. My ears were ringing. 2 gunshots in a small enclosed space. The sound would have been deafening. When Meeks turned around from his computer, he saw Billy Adams standing with a gun in his hand.
On the computer, and I heard 2 gunshots, and I turned around, and he was standing there holding the gun.
Who was standing there holding the gun?
Adam was.
On the floor, Trevon Albury and Daniel Thompson. Both shot, both dead. According to Meeks' testimony, Billy's first words were, "They were going to rob me." Or maybe it was, "This was a setup." Meeks couldn't be certain. His ears were still ringing from the gunshots. The chaos that followed happened fast. Someone called 911. Police units responded to the North 23rd Street address. Crime scene tape went up. Detectives began processing the studio. 2 bodies were removed. Investigators found no weapons on Trevon Albury. No weapons on Daniel Thompson. Just 2 young men, dead in a recording studio, shot by someone they'd come to help make music. 2 days passed. On November 21st, 2020, Tampa police arrested Billy Bennett Adams III. The charges 2 counts of first-degree murder. The Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office announced they would seek justice for Trevon Albury and Daniel Thompson. December 2020. Billy Adams appeared before Judge Catherine Catlin for his bond hearing. His defense attorney presented their version of November 19th. According to Billy, he was at the studio recording when he overheard Albury and Thompson talking. They were planning to rob Joseph Meeks. Billy claimed he saw Albury point a gun at the back of Meeks' head while Meeks worked at the computer, unaware of the danger. Billy said he acted to save Meeks' life and his own. He shot Albury first, then Thompson when he tried to grab the weapon. Self-defense. Defense of others. Justified homicide. The prosecution disagreed. They noted no weapons were recovered from the victims. They suggested the shooting was actually gang-related, a dispute over money or territory. They wanted Billy held without bond. Judge Catlin made her decision. "I don't believe him to be a danger to the community," she stated from the bench. She set bond at $500,000 with conditions. Billy would be placed on house arrest. He would wear an ankle monitor. He could have no contact with any witnesses in the case. Billy Adams' family posted bond. The trial of Billy Bennett Adams III began in late January 2023, 2 years and 2 months after the shooting. The prosecution presented their theory. This was an execution. Cold, calculated, deliberate. They argued the shooting had nothing to do with robbery. No evidence suggested Albury or Thompson planned to steal anything that night. Instead, prosecutors believed this was about gang business, a dispute over money, drugs, or firearms that ended with 2 men dead. For 6 days, the jury heard evidence. They saw crime scene photos. They learned about bullet trajectories. They heard about the lack of weapons on the victims. They listened to Billy's claim of self-defense. January 27, 2023, a Friday afternoon. The jury of 6 men and 6 women filed back into the courtroom after 4 hours of deliberation. The foreman stood. "We, the jury, find the defendant, Billy Bennett Adams III, not guilty of murder in the first degree of Trevon Albury. Not guilty of murder in the first degree of Daniel Thompson."
We, the jury, find as follows: to count 2 of the charge of murder in the first degree, Trevon Albury. The defendant is not guilty.
Billy Adams was acquitted, found not guilty, free to go. Judge Christopher Sabella addressed Billy before releasing him. "The jury did find that you are not criminally responsible for that, but I certainly hope that you find yourself in the future never in a situation that may involve anything like this." The Adams family erupted in celebration outside the courthouse. Plans for a party began immediately, a celebration of freedom, of beating the charges, of Billy getting his life back. Billy's response to his acquittal raised eyebrows. Within days, he released an album titled Underground Icon. The album cover featured a news headline about his murder case. He was monetizing his acquittal, turning the death of 2 men into marketing for his music. The families of Trevon Albury and Daniel Thompson watched in horror. The man who killed their loved ones was not only free, he was profiting from their deaths. But Billy Adams wasn't done making headlines. The party his family planned would never happen. At least not the way anyone expected. Because while Billy was planning his celebration, he was also sending text messages to another woman. Messages about his pregnant girlfriend, Alana Sims. Messages that would later become evidence in another murder case. Do you think the jury got it right? Tell us in the comments below. What happened next would prove Judge Sabella's warning prophetic. In exactly 72 hours, Billy Adams would find himself in another situation involving violence. This time, there would be no acquittal. The other woman in the text messages. Alana Sims was 22 years old. The middle child of 3 sisters, she grew up in Tampa and graduated from Chamberlain High School. Those who knew her described Alana as humble, caring, lovable.
And that she was pregnant again, and we just lost 2 souls, basically. 2 souls. But we got family here, we're together, and we're just gonna do this together.
LaKenya wrote, "I'm just so sad because I thought we was going to have a real relationship at this point. And now she's pregnant and still here." Billy responded with multiple messages. "No, no, 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 no," he typed. Then, "You not talking me out of it? Tomorrow dis shit done." LaKenya tried to reason with him, but Billy continued, "I meant what I said. We finna have our life, and it don't include hot ass. I want a life I'm posed to have Maine," Billy wrote. LaKenya's final message in the exchange, "This ain't the way, baby." 24 hours later, Alana Sims would be dead. Monday, January 30th, 2023. The timeline, reconstructed from surveillance footage, cell phone data, and RFID gate records, tells the story of Alana's last hours. At 6:43 p.m., Billy Adams opened the Maps application on his phone. He searched for Easton Park Subdivision in Tampa. The search would later be recovered from his device by investigators. At 7:10 p.m., RFID readers at Billy's gated community recorded his black Chevrolet Malibu leaving. The car was registered to Billy Adams Sr. but driven by his son that night. At 7:22 p.m., surveillance cameras captured the Malibu entering the Easton Park subdivision. At 7:36 p.m., 14 minutes after Billy arrived, Alana Sims drove into Easton Park in a Ford EcoSport. She'd told her father she was going to a party, Billy's celebration party for beating the murder charges. Her 18-month-old son was strapped into his car seat in the back. What happened next had no witnesses who could speak. Only a toddler too young to understand what he saw. A single gunshot to the head. Close range. Alana Sims fell to the ground about 5 feet from her vehicle. Her blood pooled on the pavement of Pictorial Park Drive. At 8:21 p.m., surveillance cameras recorded only one vehicle leaving Easton Park, Billy's black Malibu. Alana's Ford EcoSport remained parked where she'd left it. Her son, still in his car seat, had fallen asleep. At 8:32 p.m., RFID readers logged Billy's Malibu returning to his gated community. The round trip had taken him 1 hour and 22 minutes. At 10:16 p.m., nearly 2 hours after the shooting, a local resident driving through Easton Park noticed something wrong. A woman lying on the ground near an SUV. At first, the witness thought she might be intoxicated. Then he saw the blood. The 911 call brought Tampa police to the scene. They found Alana Sims, 22 years old and 5 months pregnant, dead from a gunshot wound to the head. Inside the borrowed Ford EcoSport, her 18-month-old son was still sleeping in his car seat. Physically unharmed, but now motherless. The child who would never meet his sibling. The baby who would grow up without memories of his mother. The toddler who may have witnessed something his young mind couldn't process or remember. 3 days of freedom. That's all Billy Adams got after his acquittal. 3 days before another woman was dead. 3 days before another family was destroyed. 3 days before the streets of Tampa claimed another victim. When detectives knocked on Billy Adams' door to ask about Alana Sims, he had his story ready. "I haven't seen or spoken to her in months," he told investigators. He said he didn't believe he was the father of her unborn child. He claimed he'd been home all evening on January 30th. The detectives took notes. Then they went to work. RFID gate records from Billy's neighborhood showed his vehicle leaving at 7:10 p.m. and returning at 8:32 p.m. The electronic readers don't lie. They recorded every entry and exit with precision. Surveillance footage from the Easton Park subdivision captured Billy's black Chevrolet Malibu entering at 7:22 p.m. The same cameras recorded the Malibu leaving at 8:21 p.m. The only vehicle to leave after Alana arrived. When police searched Billy's car, they found 2 live 9mm bullets, the same caliber that killed Alana Sims. A warrant for Billy's cell phone revealed more. At 6:43 p.m. on January 30th, he'd searched for directions to Easton Park subdivision. The digital footprint placed him at the crime scene through GPS data. The text messages with LaKenya Brantley from January 29th showed motive. "Tomorrow, dis shit done." On February 1st, Billy sent another message to a friend. "Police will be talking to me soon. Remember 7 to 8:20. Tell them I pulled up on you." He was building an alibi. Billy created a video with friends, dated it January 30th, and presented it to police as proof he wasn't at Easton Park. But metadata doesn't lie. The video was actually recorded on February 1st, after Alana was already dead. February 8th, 2023. 8 days after the murder. Billy Bennett Adams III was arrested at his home. This time, there would be no house arrest, no ankle monitor, no bond. In the interrogation room, Billy's story began to change. First, he admitted he'd left his house that evening, but claimed he was with friends. When confronted with surveillance footage, he changed his story again. Yes, he'd met with Alana at Easton Park. Yes, she'd brought her toddler, but according to Billy, Alana had pulled a gun on him. He wrestled it away from her. The gun went off. Self-defense, just like the studio shooting. Where was this gun? Billy claimed he threw it away while driving home. Police searched the route, they used metal detectors, they checked storm drains. No gun was ever found. Under continued questioning, Billy acknowledged what investigators already knew. Alana was pregnant. He could be the father. He knew she was carrying a child when she died.
That the motive is that he did not want to be in her life anymore and was not ready to, have a child is unfortunately how it appears to us.
State Attorney Susan S. Lopez held a press conference. What this defendant did is unimaginable. Our thoughts and support are with the family members of these crime victims. While we respect the verdict of the jury in the prior case, we disagreed with it, and that is why we prosecuted him. We will continue to work with TPD to prosecute him for these latest crimes. The charges: first-degree murder, killing of an unborn child by injury to the mother. The state attorney's office filed notice they would seek the death penalty. Sheila V. Sims, Alana's mother, spoke through tears. We were expecting another beautiful baby, but it was taken from us, so I didn't lose one. I lost two. 2 murder cases, 5 victims. The same defense both times, self-defense. One jury believed Billy Adams. Will another? Billy Adams Sr., who stood as a character witness for his son just weeks ago, now visits him in jail, awaiting a death penalty trial. The father who wanted his son to join the military. The father who watched his son graduate from college. The father who may watch his son receive a lethal injection. Alana's 18-month-old son is being raised by family members. He'll grow up without memories of his mother, without knowing his sibling who never got to take a first breath. Another generation affected by violence that could have been prevented. Billy Adams beat one double murder case claiming self-defense. Now he tries the same defense again. But remember, dead victims can't contradict their killer's story. Trevon Albury can't testify. Daniel Thompson can't testify. Alana Sims can't testify. Here's the haunting question. If Trevon Albury and Daniel Thompson had survived that night in the studio, would Alana Sims be alive today? If that first jury had convicted Billy Adams, would a young mother still be raising her children? How many acquittals before the system fails? How many chances does someone get to claim self-defense? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow on True Crime Anatomy, a police detective gets a missing person case that hits too close to home. It's his own wife. The cop who investigated his own wife's disappearance. This has been True Crime Anatomy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe.